Good morning, everyone. Hello, everybody. I am doing these recordings for students or youngsters and teenagers who actually are going through their academic qualifications through school, high school, as well as college. But there are many topics which are essential in life and which are not being taught as part of their academic curriculum. So I'm touch basing some of those topics and I am actually explaining my thoughts around it. It is not always important to go through just what I am saying and follow it. At least what I intend to do is if it instigates the thought process on these lines and on these topics in all the young minds, then I have achieved what I really want to do. So today I would like to talk about learning, unlearning, and relearning. We all learn a lot of things over time in our lives, but most of the things that we learn, we abide by it and we actually make our thought processes, our opinions, our lifestyle around what we learn and how we learn it, where we learn it. We do not ever try for unlearning few things which are damaging ourselves or others, or which become no more important, or which become obsolete over years, and we do not relearn on those topics. So today, I just want to instigate the thought what learning is, what unlearning is, and relearning is, and what are the various different aspects in our lives which where we learn things and where we are supposed to unlearn and relearn things. So let's go ahead. Now, what is learning? Learning in the dictionary is actually a process of acquiring skills, knowledge, knowledge about a topic, knowledge about how do we behave, how different values, be it religious values, be it our customs, be it our expressions or opinions about uh, our neighbors or our teams or our siblings or our parents' value system as on a whole, our attitudes and preferences. Technical or non-technical. Technical skills usually get you a job and give you a satisfaction through your career. Learning is not limited only to technical skills. Learning is how to hold a cup and have a cup of coffee. How do you stand and pee or how do you sit and pee? That's also a learning. Whom do you call a mother? Whom do you call a father when you were born? What are the different relationships you have? And anything and everything that we do, we smell, we taste, we think, we talk is learning, or it's based on our learning of various aspects in life. So learning is not just technical, it is a holistic human approach. Now, the ability to learn is possessed both by humans, animals, and of course, everybody understands now artificial intelligence and etc. So we have learning in machines, and there is learning even in plants. When a plant leaves raise up towards the sun for more sunlight for photosynthesis, that's learning. When your roots of the plants actually spread wide in the ground or in the earth to absorb water and minerals, that's learning. It is actually learning to spread. It is actually learning to photosynthesize. It is actually learning how do the leaves spread looking upwards to the sun. Many people actually know that sunflowers turn towards sunlight. I have seen it in real. During the sunrise, they are turning towards the east, and over evening, they actually keep turning along with the sun. And by the time of sunset, they actually turn towards west. That is basically to absorb lots of sunlight because they require lots of sunlight. That's learning. Now, psychologists usually define that there, whatever we learn, whatever we perceive and learn towards it, our behavior is actually a result of all the experiences and all the learnings that we have. Um, Last but not least, learning is never ending. It will keep learning throughout our life till the end time. From the time we are born, or actually psychologists and psychiatrists and medically it is proven that uh, the life starts learning when they are in the womb of the mother, or Homo sapiens actually learn when they are in the womb of the mother. So it's not even after being born. You learn things when you are in the womb. Otherwise, once you're born, you learn it from your parents, your elders at home, your society, your older siblings, or even your younger siblings, your friends at school, your friends in your colleges, your neighbors, your society, maybe any society where you live in or you are exposed to, you learn from there. You learn from media, social media like Facebook, Instagram, or Snapchats, or news, TV, YouTube, any of these media as well. So learning is 360 degrees from any source where you get information from. How much do you filter it and what do you learn is what is important. Now, why do human beings? I'm going to restrict myself to human beings henceforth, not talking about plants or animals, etc. So let me concentrate on what we human beings are all about. Why do human beings learn? Our wiring is like that. God has created our human beings or animals or plants for learning. We are inclined naturally to learn about our surroundings, our other human beings, a society, whatever situations we actually go in, and how we develop survival skills during those situations. All of this is very natural to human beings or other animals as well. Now, sociocultural learning supports the use of a problem-based approach to learning. What do you mean by this? Now, there is a problem and there is an action item that is happening in the world around us. You learn basically by observing it. For example, um, I'll give you a weird example for explanation purposes where people can never forget this. Most of us actually watch horror movies, horror serials, or crime serials, etc., etc. Have you ever observed that Indian movies, old movies or newer movies, the ghosts always wear white saris with hair around everywhere? Why do movies project like that in India while in Western countries they're always usually with jeans and t-shirts and blood flowing everywhere? How are the ghosts different? Ghost is a ghost. How is that the English movies actually deprecate or actually show the ghost in a different way than from what Indian movies show? The reason being, what we learn from childhood is basically what we see. We see the older generations always wore saris in India. So the female ghost always wears a sari. There is no concept of sari in US or in Europe. They wear skirts or jeans or a pant with a shirt or a t-shirt. So your ghosts in those areas are only those. English movies never show a ghost with a sari because nobody can really understand what that dressing is, at least not in previous generations. So that is what the movie directors, movie actors, who are also human beings born and raised in India, have learned that. So what they have learned is that the ghosts usually wear saris. So to depict that it is an evil ghost, they'll come in white sari with a hair around, and that's how it's depicted. Now see the relation between what we learn and and how we project it, how we process it, and how we project it. So if an Indian director goes to US to make an English movie, which is supposed to be released in US, he cannot show a ghost in a white sari. He has to show the ghost in a skirt or in a jeans or a pant with a t-shirt. Otherwise, nobody in US will relate to the ghost or the movie. His movie will become a flop. In this one example, let's see how the learning is. The learning of that Indian director has always been that people, women, or female ghosts wear saris. He learned that. He projected it in an Indian movie which was successful. Now he wants to make an English movie which is supposed to be released in US. He cannot show the ghost in a sari. So he will go and unlearn that in English movie he cannot show a temple, he cannot show a ghost in white sari. He has to unlearn it. He has to unlearn everything that his movie was successful based on Indian scenario. Now he has to relearn how a ghost is projected in US. What are the different tantric ways where the ghost will has to be sent back? Is it a church, a father in a church? Who in a church actually does only this work? How do you get eradicate? How do you eradicate the ghost problem in US? So he has to relearn it for him to become successful. This is probably a weird example I have given, but you will learn that anything and everything in your life has to be learned, unlearned, and relearned. And when do you actually unlearn and relearn is what I'm going to talk beyond this. Now, what's unlearning? In my example, I've already explained you why unlearning is important. And unlearning is not about forgetting. It's actually about choosing an alternative model or an alternative paradigm. Now, it's a process of replacing our existing thought process with a new thought process, which is more applicable, which is more recognized, which is more thoughtful, or and maybe it is more effective. Your old methods may be obsolete, or your old methodology, your thought process, or your paradigms are harmful to somebody. It can be harmful to yourself or it can be harmful to others. Then you need to unlearn it. And when you unlearn it, you will have space in your brain to relearn what is necessity, what is necessary for your survival, what is necessary for you to develop yourself and become a better human being, what is necessary for you to improve your skill sets, to get a better job, to get a hike, to become a better person. These are the different places where you need to unlearn as well as relearn. And why do we have to unlearn? It can be a bad habit, it can be a preconception, or anything else that is false. I'll give you another example. Um, Talking about Indian scenario again here, how many of you actually know that many Indian cities as well as towns and Indian societies, there are people from higher classes, casteism, where higher caste people still do not invite the lower caste people into their houses. They don't eat in the same plates. And this kind of racism is there across the world in different parts of the countries, in different parts of the world, in different parts of their towns. They have their own culture, they have their own race, they have their own caste, they have their own religion, and other religions or other caste people or other people are actually looked down. Do you think this is correct? Do you think that you need to let go of these kind of perceptions? Are you a better human being by holding to this kind of racism or not? These are all some things which probably it works even in your own society where you live, where you are grown up, where you are done. But is it some parts of it where you have to unlearn that you should be respectful of others? from any of other societies where you are not born and brought up. One can still follow their religion, move towards God, do all the good things. But if you cannot accept the other religion or other caste or rich and poor, take any example. Do you think if it's correct? So if you're having a preconcept or a thought process where you think that is incorrect, and you need to let go of a few things, unlearn a few things, then you should unlearn. On a technical basis, for example, um, I've learned 8085 chipset and 8086 chipset, and I was doing programming when I was a kid in COBOL. Do you think they're any more relevant in this today's society? I talk about microservices. Java itself is becoming obsolete. I'm looking at machine learning, at AI, artificial intelligence today. There is no more COBOL, what do you call, programming. Tools are different. Working only on Windows doesn't work. You need to work on Windows, Linux, Unix, OS, or operating systems. So I have learned new skill sets. When I have learned new skill sets, I have not forgotten my old skill sets, some of which I have unlearned. Baby, basically, there are algorithms which I had to learn, and there is a way of oops concept that have come in a real new world, which was not there earlier. I have unlearned old things and I have learned new things. So unlearning, again, like learning, is not limited only to your behavioral or any of your societal concepts, but also about your skill sets. And understanding or being present to your own thought process and where you need to go is very important, and your own willingness to learn and unlearn and relearn is extremely important in life, and it has to be there for your entire life. Now, how do you unlearn? This is one of the major important aspects of what learning, unlearning, and relearning. Now, you have past experiences, knowledge, and everything, but how do you unlearn? The first step is I'm aware that whatever I have learned so far about any topic, any aspect of life, is either harmful to me or to somebody else, or it is obsolete or unethical, or it is stopping me to become a better person or getting a bigger job or any higher goal in my life. Being aware of this is the first step. Then open minding. If I'm open minded and willing to change myself, my thought process about my old school thoughts and going to the new school, that's important. Then understanding the difference between reality and perception. This is a simple example where I have read in many, many books and most psychologists give. A number 6 is written on a on the ground on a piece of paper, and two people are sitting opposite sides of it. I am able to see it as a 6. The person who's sitting right opposite to me sees the number as a 9. Which one is reality? Which one is correct? Both are correct and both are perceived. I am perceiving it as a 6. The person sitting right opposite to me is perceiving as a 9. So understanding the difference between reality and how we perceive and how the other people are perceiving the same truth, same reality, is very important in unlearning and unlearning, because your truth is not always the universal truth. There is always your truth, my truth, and somebody else's truth. Understanding this aspect is extremely important. Now, how do you unlearn? There are many times there you don't have the information in your hand to know whether the old school thought process was obsolete or not, and there is a new school thought process. So you need to be curious. You need to have patience. You need to have perseverance to understand the various aspects. You need to research and understand. You need to learn it step by step. Another example I will give. Ravan, who's a mythological character in India, is actually a villain position. in Ramayana. Sri Ramji was actually considered a hero, and Ravan was always a villain. Go to the books or your mythological books and epics, etc. in Sri Lanka. Ravan was a great king. He is even today praised as a hero. He did a lot of good things in Sri Lanka. Maybe the only one bad thing he did was to abduct Sita in India. So Indians consider him as a villain. The whole of Sri Lankans actually consider Ravan a big hero. What is truth? You need to be curious to understand the different aspects and different thought processes, what others think about it, what is reality, and how do I perceive it and how do you perceive it, for which you need to be persistently, patiently learning it. You should be curious to learn it. And you should, in the process, let go of your self limiting beliefs. Another mythological example I can give out of my own experience, Hanumanji in India is considered a bachelor. In Indonesian and Asian countries, Hanumanji is again Hanuman there with 2 wives and many kids. He's not a bachelor there. But Hanumanji is and prayed as a god even in India and even in those countries. What is truth? What is your belief system? My belief system from the time I was born, I was considering Ram as a hero and a great king, and Hanuman as a great follower of Ram and a extreme bachelor, staunch bachelor. That's the limit I have in my belief system. But if I had to, when I travel to Indonesian countries and Asian countries, Japanese countries, etc., I learned that Hanuman was a great king there too. He's a god. They worship him. They have temples with his wives and kids. He had multiple wives there. As per their epics, as per their culture, Hanumanji had wives. He begetted kids, which is a staunch opposite belief from what I have been born and brought up in India. So, what is truth? Understanding the difference between reality and perception and let going of my self limiting beliefs and pursuing what is unfamiliar. The concept of Raman and Hanumanji in two different Asian countries is very different. Now, I was very uncomfortable when I have learned that Hanumanji had wives, he had kids. From my childhood till now, I have been developed, I have ideated Hanumanji as a bachelor. It's an uncomfortable change I had, but I changed. I understood. I have learned. I have unlearned. And I have relearned that in different mythologies, in different places, in different countries, in different cultures, the same thing is depicted in a different way. The idea is not about depiction. The idea is about inculcating the common people towards a higher calling. That's what I have relearned. These are a few examples, both technical as well as non-technical as a human, that I have learned, unlearned, and relearned, which I'm giving here. Now, what is relearning? I have given many examples where and how we relearn. Wherever we relearn, it is more applicable, more useful, or needful over the old paradigms. That is what is important in life. Now, quote unquote, Alvin Toffler is actually a big philosophers from American countries, and his famous quote is, "You are the illiterate of the future. The illiterate of the future are not those who can't read or write, but those who cannot learn, unlearn, and relearn." This is one of the quote that is usually given by any psychologist and every psychiatrist who actually teach this concept. This is one of the most sensitive and very important topics that is never taught in academics or by our own elders from home. or at school. So please do understand this concept and try to become a better person, better human. Another quote is by Lao Tzu, and you can read about them on the links I have given here. His saying says, to attain knowledge, add things every day. To attain wisdom, remove things every day, which means you need to unlearn a lot of things that you have learned over years, right from your childhood till you are a teenager. And the learning and unlearning and relearning process is till the end time, till we live, till we are end. So please become a better human being and think about this concept, understand this concept, and try to follow it in your own life, in your own life aspects. Thank you very much for listening to me. Have a good day.